Welcome to Connect Canyons, a podcast sponsored by Canyon School District. This is a show about what we teach, how we teach, and why. We get up close and personal with some of the people who make our schools great. Students, teachers, principals, parents, and more. We meet national experts too. Learning is about making connections. So connect with us.
Few other events bring the country together like the Super Bowl. Last year's battle between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles drew the largest numbers of viewers in history. 115 million people tuned in to watch. Whether you're a football fan, maybe you're in it for the snacks, for the ads, halftime show, the Super Bowl is a unique American tradition that really borders on a national holiday for some. Welcome to a special bonus episode of Connect Canyons. I'm your host, Francis Cook. I'm joined today by three gentlemen who have a very strong background in football. First and foremost, Canyon School Superintendent Dr. Rick Robbins, former quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback for Southern Utah University. We're also joined by two of our newest head coaches. We have Coach Mark Albertson with Jordan High School and Coach Blake Burdette with Alta High School. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here today.
Happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Now, I'd say it's arguable that this Super Bowl is going to have more eyes on it than even last year's record-breaking Super Bowl. You've got the Chiefs returning. You have eyes on Mark Mahomes, Blake Birdie. It's going to be a big game, and we have one of our own Canyons coaches right there in the mix of it. Alex Whittingham, defensive coach for the Chiefs. So off the top, let's get with the first question out of the way. Who's going to win?
Well, I'll lead it off. Yeah, this Super Bowl, great rematch a few years back with the 49ers and the Chiefs. And I think besides Coach Whittingham, there's so many Utah ties with Andy Reid and BYU and also Fred Warner, linebacker for the 49ers. It's all pro, also a BYU product. So it's great to see those Utah connections. I think it's a 50-50 kind of a pick-em matchup. You have two great teams, two great coaches. They're amazing in all three phases of the game. And right now, 49ers have kind of come out as a favorite according to the Vegas line. But I'm going with the Chiefs. I think just that experience and Mahomes at quarterback, they've done this before. Looking at their season and their ability to play well when it counts, when the lights burn the brightest has been kind of their forte. So I'm looking for a close win, maybe 30-28 Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm a different camp. I mean, my kids would be mad at me if I didn't mention the other side of that, but I think that, if you think about what kind of wins football games, I think defense really does win football games. And you talk about Fred Warner, you talk about the 49ers, offensive powerhouses, but their defense is so good. Mm-hmm. It's going to be tough to stop people like Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be tough to stop Pacheco, but in the end, I think that it is the 49ers winning. I think it's a close one. I think it's 27-24.
Wow.
All right. I'm taking even a different take from that, and with the defense, the way the Chiefs have played this year, the way their defense has come alive, you can't count Patrick Mahomes out. I mean, as far as like his weapons that he's got on the outside, it seems like somebody new steps up. You have Rashid Rice, the rookie wide receiver, that's just awesome. And Coach Albertson mentioned Pacheco, the running back, and then obviously Travis Kelce. I don't like the Chiefs, but I'm going to pick
Me neither.
them.
It's hard. I get it.
It is hard. I'm going to pick them 27-14 because you do have a new quarterback in Brock Purdy. It's the biggest stage. And I'm actually going to go a little further and say my player of the game is Chris Jones from the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the way he's playing, he's so disruptive on that defensive line. And I think that if the Chiefs put a little pressure on Purdy, I just look at it like, yes, he's kept care of the ball a lot, but he has had some tendencies to have some errant throws, and I think that they're going to be pretty disruptive, especially with Chris Jones up front. So,
you've all mentioned these teams this year are really well-rounded, right? Strong defense, strong offense, but a lot of it does come back to that pressure on the QB. Soup, you were a QB.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Mahomes, and we've been following him for years. Now you got Purdy coming in. Let's talk about that pressure on them.
Yeah, I wish I had the same rules and protections that these quarterbacks have. The NFL really is a quarterback game, and I think that's what people pay big money to see. They want to see these guys at the quarterback position, and I find it just fascinating. I mean, you look at Brock Purdy, who's drafted Mr. Irrelevant, last player in his draft picked, and then Mahomes, obviously a first-round pick by the Chiefs. And just their different paths to success. And Purdy really, being kind of that cerebral pocket passer type guy, he does have some mobility, but still growing in the position, right? I mean, no one expected him to come on the scene the way he has. And that also is a real tribute to coaching. I mean, you hear people say that he's more of a systems guy because Shanahan's such a great coach, and he does have Debo and some of the guys that around him, McCaffrey. I mean, he does have great players, but he's also very intelligent, and he throws the ball in the right place, in the right windows at the right time. So you can't take that away from him. But Mahomes, on the other hand, to me, is the complete package. I mean, this guy has really developed as a pocket passer over the years. I mean, he kind of came into the league as just a scrambler, and really, I think people downgraded him because he couldn't throw in the pocket. But he's proven as of late that he's an MVP caliber passer and can throw out of the pocket or on the run, and obviously the great coaching behind that. So I agree with Coach Burdette. I kind of give the edge to Mahomes in this one, but they're both, extraordinary athletes and quarterbacks, and just fun to see that, they're on the biggest stage this week.
I think Mahomes really started to shine in the playoffs, and especially in the conference championship game. I mean, some of his pockets were just money in the bag. Let's talk about that coaching strategy. We have Alex Whittingham there on the field. He's bringing in some of that, Canyon's coaching values. Coaches, can you talk to what we might expect to see from him? What do we want to see from these coaches when it comes to our students and our young athletes watching these games?
Yeah, I think when you think about coaches, and you think about some of the positive coaches that I've had, they're people that bring it every day. They're people that are high energy. They're all about the kids. But I think more than anything, I think that if you think about good coaches, you think about that whole education approach. We have coaches at every level have the opportunity to shape and mold individuals to become the best versions of themselves. And that's what I've learned being in the Canyon School District is, finding people and being around people that are there to shape and help and mold, our student athletes and our students to become the best versions of themselves.
Yeah, and I agree with that, everything that Coach Albertson said. So with the NFL, with these coaches, I think that when you get to high level and you see these coaches, which ones are going to make the least mistakes, right? And which ones are going to show up for that big moment. We've got two great coaching staffs under Shanahan and Reed. And which ones are going to show? I mean, you watch some championship games, and they're not doing the exact same things that they got them there. They maybe the moment's too big. I think these two great coaching staffs. And back to Coach Whittingham, I mean, he's in that family tree. I was up at the University of Utah with Fred Whittingham and then Kyle Whittingham and had the chance to meet Alex, and he's got a bright future. So that coaching tree, I think it's awesome. It's awesome for the state of Utah. It's awesome to have that connection, and what a fun thing for that family to be able to have that, and maybe there's a fourth Whittingham down the way after Alex. So, and it's pretty fun to watch and see that coaching tree and for him to get that opportunity.
You guys thinking about great coaches. I know over my playing career, like I really admired my coaches because they were great teachers. Yeah. And I always felt like, they really understood me. They understood how to get the most out of me as an athlete. Talk to us a little bit about that role as a teacher, right? Because translating what you know in your brain as a coach about the X's and O's, which all of us know in the game. I mean, most people don't understand. It's like learning a different language, right? The X's and O's are so complex, and yet you're able to get these kids to learn all this material and then go out in a group of 11 and execute a play as a group. So just elaborate a little bit on that role as a teacher.
Start?
Sure, I'm happy to. There's a cliche out there that a lot of people talk about, and and it's the kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think that at this age, and coaching high school football, even coaching in the collegiate level, you can have all the knowledge you want. And unless you're all getting everybody to go the same direction, then you're not going to be successful. And I think that's such a valuable part in the teaching and making sure that they understand. Keeping it simple. I mean, there could be, you could have an idea of running a very complex defense or offense, and this is what we're doing, but if you don't keep it simple and tailor it to the strengths of the players that you're coaching, you can have this big ego and say, this is what we're doing no matter what, but if the players don't match that style and you don't teach it well, like you've mentioned, then what's the point? Like you're probably going to be hitting your head against the wall because your ego's in the way, and the boys, they can't get what you're trying to, even though you know it in your head. It's all about teaching it and making sure that they understand it as well.
I think too, kind of echoing that, showing people that you care about them. In the classroom, if you learn who kids are, you learn their learning styles, and you learn how they, kind of what makes them tick. It makes teaching a lot more fun because you get to cater, all these lessons to who these individual kids are. And same on the football field. I mean, some of these kids are coming in from playing in third grade. Some of these kids are coming in playing, their first year is their senior year. And so there's so many different levels of, coaching, or, there's so many different levels of playing ability. And so taking a kid that maybe doesn't know anything about football and helping him learn the basics and learning him find a love and a passion for a sport is just such a rewarding experience. And also it's like helping kids who have been playing since they were, first grade continue to learn and love and grow is just as rewarding.
And it's a fun challenge, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a fun challenge to when it clicks and they get it and understand, well, we're doing this, scheme because it matches what you can learn and you do well. And just making sure that they're having fun out there. I mean, that's a big thing. Like, some of my best memories, and I think that it's playing high school football.
Yeah.
And you remember that, and you remember the memories you have, and so it's trying to help them create those memories and create that brotherhood or that camaraderie that they can get if they buy in and go through some hard stuff together.
I appreciate that, Coach. I think now more than ever we need those principles, right? I mean, I think football, it's one of those sports that if you work hard at it, you can really be part of something special, right? And you learn all of those principles. So thinking about that as a coach, and you guys are brand new, you're coming into your programs. I think one thing that we all know about the most successful teams is they are very principle oriented, right? There are certain principles that are established in the program early that really dictate culture. And I think, that's something in Canyons we've really tried to do with, whether it's our strategic plan or our portrait of a scholar, that, there are certain kind of a North Star, or there's principles that we want to embed that we want all of our kids to have. And so as you're thinking about building your programs, what are those core principles that you want your players to really demonstrate and espouse that are going to represent success?
So for me, when I look at it, I look at Friday nights as a school event. Football may be the main event, the main dish, but we've got a band, we've got cheerleaders, we've got drill team, we've got students, all these things. It's an event, and it's not just for football. I mean, that's the thing I would first say is that we have to work as a community. We've got to work all together to have the experience for everybody. And football is the driver to get there and to do those things. And I think that as we understand that it's a community and the boys realize that this is a community event and we're all in it, football's the biggest team in every school, right? And so as you're getting recognized as you're walking down the hall, like what kind of person are you? Are you saying hi to the kid that is sitting alone every day? Are you just passing them by? And so just making sure that they know that we can be good citizens and we can be nice to everyone. they may stick out, the football players. They might have a tie on or a jersey on or whatever they might have on game day. But just making sure that everybody feels included, making sure that that we're not better than anybody else. And I think that's a good life lesson. First of all, going through the hard stuff together to build those teams. We've all been part of teams. I mean, Canyon School District's here as a team. The job that I do on an everyday basis, I have a team that I work with. And so you learn how to work with those teams. And the community and the school is a team. And it's not just about football, but it's about all these other things. And if we can bring that together and bring the community together, I think it teaches those valuable lessons as they go on to life, into college, or in their families, in their church, or whatever it might be, that they can be part of the community and a part of a team. And so those are some of the principles that I'm trying to
good stuff.
entail, so.
Yeah. Kind of echoing that too, man. I'm just going to echo you all day. One of my old programs that I coached for, we had a saying that we lived by. It was where we go one, we go all. And I think that kind of follows along with that community aspect, that we really are, right. Football might be the culminating events of Friday, but we have so much more that's band, drill, even like the other sports and the other kids at the school. Like, we are one community, we are one legacy that we're trying to build upon. Being at Jordan, having the school be around for almost 120 years. Yeah. There's a lot of legacy, and there's a lot of things that our kids can build upon to help create that positive community, whether that's in their own families later on down the road, or that's in their community, in their families right now, the communities we live in, and really just in the school community. I think I had a conversation today with a couple of kids, and I said, whatever other kids are doing is fine, but as Jordan football players, we live to a higher standard, and that's just helps setting the cultural norm of what we want to accomplish at Jordan High School, or whatever high school we're at.
I think that's a good point, and taking it away into your community, into your family. I was a junior high and high school athlete, and whether you're in band, whether you're in theater, you're building that camaraderie, that team, right? And you don't, I think, in the moment realize how many of those values you're instilling into your players that they will then walk through life with and help them mold them into the people that they will become.
Yeah, I think one of our greatest challenges coming out of the pandemic that we've seen is just loneliness, right? Sure. I mean, we for so long we were separated and had to stay apart, and I think those mental health challenges have really kind of stuck with us after the pandemic and through the pandemic. And so, these connections, I've always said, it's these kinds of activities, and it doesn't sports or the arts or whatever it is, academics, but getting back together and really building those relationships, to me, that's going to get us, to the next step and really re-engage and energize our kids.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's, we've got all these great talk about team and community, and now America's about to become one big community on Sunday. So, final thoughts on bringing that home in the NFL, and our NFL players and coaches being that beacon, that hope to look at, and what you could potentially become in the future.
Yeah, I'm sad that it's in Las Vegas, and I'm a Raider fan, and it's in our stadium. So that for me is going to be a little bit tough. But yeah, I think just football is such a cultural thing, and it brings us together. And I hope that's what happens Sunday. No matter where you're at or what your walk of life is, I hope everyone will just take a minute to connect with those that they love. Tell them that you love them. Maybe give them an extra hug. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the food. It is a couple of hours for us all to kind of unwind and enjoy a little bit of Americana, and I thoroughly enjoy that. I know these two do as well. So that's kind of my final thoughts.
Yeah, I think about, I'm going to say it, Taylor Swift.
Okay, there we go. We broke it.
It's got to happen at least
I'll be the
once,
first
right?
one. But my kids, they're starting to love football now because they see people that they recognize, and they're like, oh man, I love football. Like, and they want to watch football with me now. So it's going to be really fun to have, my own little Hayden Panettieres from Remember the Titans sitting next to me, watching football with me, and actually learning and understanding, what I do as part of my job, and then when to have her at practice with me and see, the connections that I have with the kids. And, I'm just really excited that, football is one thing that can bring people together and we can have a good time with it, regardless of the outcome.
And Taylor's bringing in a whole new generation of fans.
Yep.
I'll take it.
It is. And my 7th grade daughter at Draper Park, Elizabeth, she reminded me of Taylor math last night. The 49ers, 4 + 9 is 13. I guess 13 is her favorite number. The flight from Tokyo to Las Vegas, 13 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The date is 2/11. 13 plus 87, is 100. So she's reminding me all this Taylor math, the Taylor Swift, and it is fun. Like, my daughters would never sit and watch football until this year with me. And is Travis Kelce playing? And it's fun. It is fun. It is fun to make that connection, because football and sports have been such a big part of my life, and I love that my daughters are both in theater and singing and doing that part. But for me, it's been nice to do that. So the superintendent's thought yes, it is something that brings us together. We can relax. It is part of Americano, and that's the great part about it. And be a little gluttonous on that day, and have a little extra food, and it's fun. It's a fun time. So.
Well, I want to thank you all for joining us, for coming together with us. Brand new coaches, head coaches. We're really excited to see
Wish
what you're
you
going
the
to
best,
bring
you guys.
next
Thank
year.
you.
Next
We'll be
season,
there.
no pressure.
No pressure.
Soup and I are going to be there with bells on.
No pressure, all fun. That's
Right, all
That's
fun.
it.
That's right. As long as we're having fun on the field, that's what matters, right?
Enjoy the process.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate you all being here.
Thank you,
you.
Francis.
And thank you for watching. If there's a topic you'd like to see or hear discussed on Connect Canyons, send us an email to communications@canyonsdistrict.org. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Connect Canyons. Connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram @Canyons District, or on our website, canyonsdistrict.org.